Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to Fuzzy's Action Reaction Videos, guys. You are rocking it here with the one and only J Fuzzy in the house. So today we are here with another banger. We are going to be going out and meeting Paddy Tate, a guy who I was incarcerated with for quite some time. He was sentenced around the same time as me, got released about the same time as me. So he hasn't been back to jail like myself. So by the sounds of things, he seems like he's doing pretty well. He's working, I know that much. So he'll be talking about his struggles and stuff in life, his highs and lows. But yeah, I'm about to go outside and catch an e-scooter down towards his way, and we'll get into it from there. I might need to change my hat though. Actually, I might change my hat, but let's go! Yo, what is up, YouTube? Well, I'm just about to go up and meet Paddy now. So we're doing this life after prison interview, so I'll check you guys back then. So we've just gotten here now, guys. I've just got to go look for Paddy, and then we'll go from there. Booyah! Paddy! Paddy!
We are in a low speed zone. Scooter will slow down.
What's going on, mate? Yeah.
What, you got like the app, or how's it work?
Hey?
How's it work?
I just
Get the app, eh?
yeah, you get the app, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Just got to park
And
it
then
out.
you park here at the station or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
What is up, guys? Welcome to Fuzzy's Action Reaction Videos. We're here doing an interview with Paddy Tate. The whole idea for this video is just to show people, you know, and sort of teach the young ones out there that, you know, how we adapt to life after prison, and how prison's not really a place for anyone to be at. You know, you want to be at home, you want to be around with your kids, and you want to, you know, share those moments with your kids and not have to do that behind bars for the rest of your life. So getting into the interview, we're here with Paddy Tate. Let's go.
My name's Patrick Michael Tate. Originally from Queensland, one parent from way up north in Douglas Shire around Mossman, one parent from Brisbane. And you know, if we start at the beginning, I guess that's where it all starts. Like I was born in Brisbane, but my parents divorced at a young age, and my mother took me to live back up north with her parents. And you know, if I had to say, you know, the start of where everything went wrong, mind you, I don't blame my mother or anything. She did the best she could, you know. But I you know, divorce is hard on any kids, and they're gonna have problems. So, you know, it is what it is. And that's why as now I try and be the best husband and father I can. You know, I don't believe in divorce because of it, you know. I guess I always felt like a bit of the odd kid out. You know, at times I was the bully, at times I was the bullied, you know. I was always in trouble at school, always.
Yeah.
There was never a time, yet I've always had people sort of gravitate towards me. I've always had friends, you know, like in 11, 12 years jail, I think I had, you know, 2 fights or something, which is doing pretty well, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'd say, yeah.
Like I've always tried to get along with people. I guess I should say as well that I'm the second brother of 4 kids. However, the younger 2 weren't born till I was like 15.
Yeah.
So I basically grew up with my older brother, 3 years older. Shout out Matty Tate. Okay, so from a young age, I guess I should start with my father passing away, right?
Yeah.
So I've told you my mother took us to back up to near Cairns, and we didn't see my dad all that much, but I knew he drank and that. Then one day, I remember my grandfather from Brisbane calling at like 7 in the morning. I never forget it, because I was watching Agro's Cartoon Connection. It wasn't even Cheese TV yet, right? It was that early. I was 9 years old, 1992, and my grandfather, Brian Tate, rings me and he says, "Is your mum home?" And I'm like, "No, she's at work at the hospital, Mossman Hospital." And he's like, "Okay, I just need to call her." And then the next thing I remember, maybe 15 minutes later, I'm still watching cartoons, mind you. My mother and my auntie pull up, I think in my auntie's car, and they get out and mum's just broken, you know. And she says, like, "Your dad's died." And I was like, "Who? Like granddad?" Like, I thought she meant her dad or whatever, but my dad had died. And so long story short, it winds out, like they said heart failure at first, but very quickly learned it was from a heroin overdose. And like, being as old as I am now and having used drugs, I know what it takes to have a habit. You know, it costs money. And I knew my dad wasn't like a crim, like he wouldn't have been doing break and enters every day. Like, I knew he worked and all that. So no one really ever told me in depth from my family, but from what I gather, he was like an occasional user, which is really dangerous, as we know, because
absolutely,
because like guys, you know, if they use heroin once a month or whatever, they're sort of opiate naive, as nurses say. And basically, I think he's gone out, got on the piss one night, and decided to go get some stuff, and he's been at home by himself, used by himself, and the other people he lived with came home and found him dead. And
that's not good.
Yeah, well, like, you know, like it's just sort of sad, you know. Like, I look back now, I think he was 34 when he passed away, and I'm 37 now. You know what I mean? And all the shit I've done, like, you'd think, like, I asked myself, like, why did I ever follow in his footsteps? You know what I mean? Like I was using drugs I was smoking pot when I was like 11, eating magic mushrooms picked fresh from my farm at 12, 13. Like, I don't know why, but you know, it was always drummed into me that you can't use drugs because, you know, your dad died from drugs. But for whatever reason, when I left home really young and went back to Brisbane and pretty much stayed. I wasn't homeless, but I didn't have a place, you know what I mean? I didn't live with my family there, but But
I know how that feels.
yeah, man, but I fell in with guys that stole stuff like from DJs, you know, like the Polo and all the cool shit that we like, the Bulgari, perfumes, whatever. And basically, like, long story short, I followed my dad's footsteps in using drugs. Maybe deep down I wanted to know what he felt. I don't know. You know, it'd take us like a million years to
work that out,
to crack it out of me. But yeah, man, like so going back to the childhood, like I went to Brisbane for boarding school with money from my father's insurance from when he died, like whatever, life insurance or something like that. And so I was 15, grade 10, Ipswich Grammar School, good school. Like, you know, like I'm the perfect example of how, you know, you can have a great education and still fuck up.
Absolutely.
And so
I was exactly the same.
I know. So I go to the good school. I go back home, and by this stage, Mum's has my brother and sister, and I was 15, just like I was probably a shit of a kid, and we didn't get along. Long story short, I leave home and go to Brisbane. And I think at the start I re-enrolled in school. I'd been out for a year, and I went to Indooroopilly High, free dress school, but I never really went. Within like 3 weeks I was kicked out, and I was just thieving shit again, living in a shitty guest house, you know, for like $80 a week or something. And but yeah, my real start to crime was shoplifting. And I fell in with shoplifters, but I quickly became fucking efficient at it, man. Like I pushed it further than the other guys, you know, like they were getting polo, I was popping tag cabinets and getting watches, and I don't mean to glorify it at all, but
you wanted to take that a step further.
I needed more money. They lived with their parents, you know, like they looked at it like they'd go and steal something and get some drugs. I looked at it like a job, like I would wake up and thieve from fucking daylight to sundown, and even then I'd be in servos fucking using credit cards and whatever, pumping cars at night, just doing dumb shit at like 16 years old, you know what I mean? And basically I found good people. Like I've always said, like I've always had people try to look after me. Like I found after a while in Brisbane, about a year, I started living on the Gold Coast with a Polish family. And some other friends.
So these were good people, they weren't?
Good people, really good people. The Polish people loved me because actually they used to run a hock shop in Melbourne, and so they'd had encounters with sort of street people before, and I met them by stealing stuff, and they were like, where do you live? And then they let me live in their garage, and they never forced me to steal for them. Like they never took advantage of me or anything, but I always used to bring stuff back, and they were like of the opinion like we're not going to change him, so they'd take the stuff. But at the same time, Klaudenko was always saying like, you know, I want you to stop, and I'd give her my doll money and she'd save it up for me, and really good people, man. Like, but I ended up fucking up and going to jail, 2002, 2003 maybe. And basically that's where it started. But from a long time before that, I'd known jail people, and I always knew, like, I knew what was coming when I rocked up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get me wrong, I was fucking shit scared and it wasn't a nice place. But by 2003, Queensland jails, they weren't like as hard as they were in the 90s. Like in the 90s, there was crazy race wars and all sorts of bad shit going on.
Yeah, definitely.
So the longest one, I think I've done about 11 or 12, but the longest was 4.5. I was sentenced to, I was still going to court when I was sentenced for 4 break and enters. I got 6 years to serve 4, so 4 to 6. But at the same time I was going to court for bashing the prison guard, the second in charge or whatever he was.
Was this the one here in Canberra?
Yeah, Mr. Starkey. And so I'm doing 6 with the 4, and I go back to court and I get 6 on the top, 6 on the bottom. So it ends up being 6.5 with 4.5 on the bottom. So I serve 4.5, give a month or 2. Like, I think it took me an extra month or 2 to get parole. But apart from that, like, from the start, you know, when I was a kid, I just turned 18. I think it was like, might have been even January 2003 or 2002 maybe, because I was 17 in 2000. Yeah, no, it must have been 2001 actually. I don't know. I come in, I did like 3 months, stayed out for 7 months, did 6 months, stayed out for 7 months. Yeah. Got picked up for a couple of stick-ups, did 14 months, but I beat the stick-ups. They dropped those charges.
So what was the issue between you and the prison guard?
Okay, so the issue there was, right, about a week prior, I had lit a cigarette for a friend in the unit, inside. You know, you're not allowed to smoke inside.
Yeah.
And they saw it on camera, they came down. Sorry. It starts like this. I'm in my cell one night and the guy next door is smoking in his cell. So there's an officer there, right? And she doesn't like look at you like, she's like, I don't know, I always called it, I don't know whether I named her that, someone else did, but they used to call her Crazy Eyes because she just sort of never really looked at you funny or like right. She never looked at you direct, or she's like all around the place, you know. But so Crazy Eyes rocks up to my door and she's like, Mr. Tate, you're smoking in there, I'm writing you up. I'm like, miss, I 100% am not smoking. And the guy next door is like, I'm fucking smoking, what? And she's like, I'm writing you up, Tate. Like as I'm trying to explain myself that I'm not, because he felt he had to try to get me out of it, but it just made it worse. So she writes me up. Then the high ups come down the next day with the paperwork and they're like, look, it's just a warning, a verbal warning, just sign it and nothing happens. And I'm like, but I actually didn't do it. And they're like, look, nothing happens. Whether you sign it or not, you're getting it. So I sign it. Then about a week later, I'm seen on camera lighting a ciggy for a guy in the unit. And the next day, the officer comes down and he's saying, because the other day you got a warning, now we're giving you 3 days locked in your cell. And I'm like, but you told me to just sign that even if I didn't do it, you know. So I'm like, this should be my first warning, because I didn't actually do that one. I actually didn't do the first one. And somehow I jagged the prison psych to give me Xanax, and I'd been saving them up. That morning I'd had a handful of Xannies. And I remember waking up and going, once they kicked in, someone said something about the screws, and I was like, I'm gonna pump one of these today. And as soon as I was about to sign it, right? I was like, oh, whatever. And I was trying to get out of it, and he smiled at me, and I just went like, bang, what? You think you're smart? Bang, bang, headbutted him. His hat goes flying, and the female guard comes. I kid you not, like I never respect a man like this. He pulled the female prison guard in front of him
as a protection,
as a human shield.
Wow.
We never saw him in the jail again. He worked in the courthouse after that for a bit. But
wow.
The other screws were like, oh, you bashed an old man. And I was like, he's a fucking screw, he's fair game. But like, I couldn't believe he held her in front of me, and I'm trying to get him around her, you know, and everyone sort of came to my aid. But really, like, again, I've probably glorified it too much already, but you know, a lot of guys got in trouble over that, and you know, it caused a lot of drama for the unit. You know, they ripped up our veggie garden that I was growing. I was growing bok choy, you know, like we had it pretty good as far as shit goes there. And then they took me to the DU, or what we call in Canberra and New South Wales, Segro, for 10 months. For the first 3, I didn't have a light in the cell.
So you want to explain what segregation is?
Well, Segro, you know, like in jail, if you're in trouble, it can be for your own protection. It can be. Let's take COVID for example. Like if you had COVID, or fucking, I don't know, like any disease, they'll put you in a cell by yourself, and there's a special block for this.
Yeah.
The segregation block. It's usually smaller, but in my case, I think how it's listed under the Corrections Act is for the protection of the prisoner, or for the protection of other prisoners from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, they were saying like I couldn't be around anyone because I was violent and assaulting guards.
So taking the Xanax probably didn't help you in any.
Oh, it was the worst thing, you know. Like if I was thinking straight that day, I might have, I don't know, maybe it would have happened, but I don't think it would have. The Xannies always give you a false sense of security, you know. All those tablets it's a mugs game, you know. Like taking them once is bad enough, but if drugs every day it's shit, you know.
Yeah.
But so they gave me, I think the law in Canberra is at the start they give you a month, and then after that, if they deem that you need more, it's 3 months at a time. So I got a month, then 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. So I ended up doing 10 months segregated. For the first 3, they locked me in the cell, didn't even have a light. I used to read, people, they didn't give me anything, no papers, no nothing, for about 2 months. Like, I'm not whinging, but by their own standards, and they're supposed to be the good guy, it was illegal, like what they did. Again, I it made me a stronger man.
Especially because
really
it's
made
supposed
me
to be
stronger.
under the Human Rights Act too.
Yeah, well, in Canberra they spruik all that shit, but it's Melbourne jails are 10 times better, and they don't say they're human rights. But
not that any jail's good.
No jail's good. Yeah, you know, if you had your own house with everything in it, but you had to stay there, it's not good. So I didn't see it like I'd get out at the 4.5 mark. I knew my jail record, and I was constantly fighting against the system, and I saw it at the 6 mark, you know. Sorry, at that stage it was 4 with the 6, and I was still going to court for other stuff, the prison guard incident, and I'm not embarrassed to say, like, I rang my grandmother, who I hadn't talked to in 15 years, and cried like a little bitch. Like, man,
That's understandable.
I hate to think what guys that get, you know, 10, 12,
or even life.
Yeah, man, like those American cats that are doing like life with 500 years. Like,
all the death sentence.
Yeah, you know, 4 years. I didn't see it as, you know, an achievable, you know, like something I could gain. I just saw it as hardness, you know, like, and it broke me for a while. I tried to just numb myself by taking drugs whenever I could, and yeah, basically, as you know, they have methadone program in most New South Wales and Canberra, probably Melbourne. I think they might even have it in Queensland now. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, man, I just went right up on the methadone as high as I could go, and before you knew it, a year had passed. I started wheeling and dealing, you know, running shops in there and dealing shit, but still fighting the system, you know, like I started to think I was getting creative by not getting in trouble, but I was just not getting caught, you know. Yeah, well, I could have done it by myself with, you know, it's hard now, like for guys that smoke, you know, they give you $15 a week, but if you smoke, a pack of smokes is like $50 in there now, for the White Ox tobacco.
Yeah.
But
it's expensive now.
Basically, I got with my current girl who I have children with, I have daughters with today, and she started coming to visit me, and not for the monetary support, like just for the moral support. Like it made me not want to be there anymore. And so we were friends for years before, but we got together at maybe a year mark of me in, I guess, and she visited me every day she could for the rest of the time. So I guess and spent money on me and shit, you know what I mean? But I still had the shops going, and that I'd try and not make her spend as much, but she would have, you know. She was forever putting cash in for me, and that's another thing. Like guys going to jail, you know, if you don't have family, it's really hard. But the worst thing about it is if you can adapt to that, like you can adapt to anything. So guys start dealing drugs, they might, you know, they might be fighting people for whatever. I'm not going to go into too much of what illegal shit people do, because it's sort of like snitching, but
and it's not irrelevant.
It's not relevant. Yeah, we know what goes on in there, and it's not cool. Like it'll get you by, but you want to be home with your family, man. You want to, if you don't have one, if you know, if you grew up in like, you know, under docks or with foster parents or whatever, and you went into that life or whatever, like you want out, man. You want to get yourself out, get yourself working, get a family, have kids, settle down and live life, man. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely, I agree with that. What is up there, guys? Hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, Paddy's sending out a pretty strong message, and my message also is that anyone that's getting caught up in any criminal activity or is caught up in any drug addiction, you know, get out while you're in early stages. You know, it's not the life to be in. You know, as you can see with me and Paddy's lives, we're adapting to normal lifestyle. He's working, he's getting his shit together. You know, I'm getting my shit together. So it's all about, you know, focusing on the positives and not the negatives. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm coming in with part 2 tomorrow, so look out for that. So until then, adios!